Step into your power. That's what we're all invited to do here. And our speaker is somebody who has. Because she knows she has a choice. Does that that rhymes with Joyce. And here's Reverend Joyce with a choice.
I could barely see that light, but anyway, I guess good morning to the Zoomites here too. I should look at you that way. Anyway, I'm just really happy to be here. Although it took me a long time to get here, I was behind 3 very slow cars coming out of Lopez Lake and just driving like they're still on vacation. And I'm trying to get here and I can't pass them. Fortunately, I don't pass them on that kind of a road. But anyway, the song, and I think about what Ruth had read for the inspiration. It's so good, Ruth. Thank you for reading that. And it kind of reminded me of when I was a little girl and I would say my prayers and I would actually be afraid after I said them. It was, now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. So my little girl self was worried that I was going to die during the night and hoping that my soul would go to heaven. But, I didn't know as much then as I know now. At least, hopefully, I don't lose what I know now in the future. But I am very grateful for being who I am today, and I had such a good time at Asilomar, and of course Ruth and her daughter Jill was there too, and they, it was just so enlightening to see people from Unity there, and it was just made it that much more special to me. And it was interesting, the program, and I opened it on Tuesday morning. I saw that I was scheduled to do the invocation, and I thought, oh my God, I didn't plan on that. I had no idea. They scheduled me, and I was in the program, and it was interesting that the day, the theme for the day was choice and change. There are no accidents, right? Joy, and I had to share that I was Joyce with a choice, right? And change, I mentioned that I learned once that with change is inevitable, and if you take the C and the E and you hang in there, you take the C at the beginning and the E at the end, and you hang in there because change is inevitable. We all move through that change, especially these days. It just seems like change is happening so quickly, and I'm just trying to keep up as best I can. And last night was one of those nights out at Feather Ranch where there was a strange animal making noises, and Richard always asks me if how am I surviving the wild pigs, the wild turkeys, the mountain lion, and the red fox. Well, this was not any of those. It was also the peacock. That was from last month. There was a wild peacock on the property, but it moved to another property, and I hear it in a distance. It's no longer on Feather Ranch. But the animal last night worried me, and I was out here. It was like 2 in the morning, and I'm flashing a light out the window because my dog started barking, and I have a light that blink, 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 and I'm thinking that will scare it away. And eventually it did scare it away because I was making snapping noise on the windowsill and yelling at it to go away. And finally it did go away and the dogs were quiet. So that was my night last night. So anyway, it has nothing to do with my talk this morning, I don't think. I'm going to find what I planned on talking this morning. I hope that you have read the wonderful newsletter that we got that I always copy. I just love it. And it's understanding, and it talks about the gateway to spiritual clarity. And it truly is the gateway to spiritual clarity. I read something by Pablo Picasso, and I love this. It says, I am always doing that which I cannot do in that order that I may learn how to do it. I'm always doing that which I cannot do in that order. Not in that order. In order that I may learn how to do it. I sometimes have trouble reading my own handwriting, but that's true for me because living out my ranch and trying to manage the generator and all of the things that John used to manage, it's me learning how to do it and remembering how to do it. I think remembering, someone will show me and then I will forget how I did that. And so what is the challenge for me is to to remember how I did it at one time. And I know I did it once, I can do it again. And it's good for the brain. I really think that we need to have these brain exercises, right? So anyway, getting back to the thought of understanding, the word of understanding, I wrote down spiritual wisdom can be defined as the understanding and knowledge that comes from a deep connection to one's inner self and the divine. And I like that. And I put down, it is the ability to see beyond the material world and to understand the interconnectedness of all things. And I like the word to be alive, awake, and aware. That's AAA, right? I have AAA. I've had it for 36 years. I've used it once. But but to be alive, awake, and aware, to have a spiritual deepening as we move through the experience that this life of ours, to move through this experience, to be alive, awake, and aware. And that helps for me to have a greater understanding of what is happening in my life and where I need to go, what I need to do, how I need to do it, and when I need to do it. There's certain things that I feel like I'm busy all the time, for me, I think Ruth shared with me how important it was on a talk I did way back when I said to my dogs, sit, stay, and then I added pray. And I also added with Ruth, I said, drop it and leave it to my dogs, because they'll find something and they won't let it go, like a gopher. I don't want them eating the gophers, because I don't know. Well, they like the gophers. Why should I stop them in doing something they enjoy? Plus, I don't enjoy the gophers around my house. But anyway, they are really scams. They're hunting dogs, and they have been my nemesis for many years, 8 years now. But anyway, I say drop it to them when they have something in their mouth that I don't want them to eat, and leave it. And so Ruth picked that up when I said that and shared that. Now I do that too. When there's a thought in my mind that is not serving me well, I say drop it and leave it. This doesn't serve me. And so I move on to the next challenge in my life. So life is good, and I love the music that you play. It always excites me, and I want to clap and sing and raise my hands and sing too, but I can't really sing very well. But I don't care. I just do that. I don't care, and I'm at that place now where think there are more important things. If I feel like singing, I sing. If I feel like dancing, I dance. And I have to share with you. I don't know if I shared this with you once before, but I was in the kitchen. It was after dinner, and I was feeling a little lonely, and I had my Bose recorder on, and a song came on, Creedence Clearwater, and I love Creedence Clearwater, and I started dancing to Creedence Clearwater. All of a sudden, it clicked off, and Memories Are Made of This came on, and that was John's and my favorite song from on our 50th anniversary. We had that song played. That was our dance that we danced to, Memories Are Made of This. The words of that song are just so appropriate to our life together. So 64 years, I can't believe 64 years. And when you talk about his child being 50, my oldest child is 66. And I have daughters under that age, but they're all senior citizens now. So, and I love them. And they were here they stayed at my house while I was gone. 2 daughters that live in California, and one of the daughters, her son, my grandson, they stayed at Feather Ranch, and I came home, and the place looked so good. They did so much yard work. They cleaned my house. My grandson was on spider patrol, and he cleared all the cobwebs off the porch and inside the house. So I need to go away more often. I only go away maybe once a year to Asilomar, and I've been going to Asilomar. I have something I want to read to you that was so significant to me. The first time I went to Asilomar was in August of 1992. That was when I first went there. And at one of the workshops, there were some words by Ernest Holmes, and I wrote them in my Science of Mind textbook. And I'd like to share those words with you now, because they're really meaningful to me. And before I get sidetracked and talking about other things, but I want to share this with you. It says, these are words that whenever I feel like I need to have a shot of inspiration, a calmness, a peace that passes all understanding. I go to my book, my journals, and my Science of Mind book, where I've written all these wise words of wisdom. This is what I wrote. You will sit in the silence until you hear the voice within. You will be in the dark until you see the light. You will be alone until you are never lonely. That is so beautiful to me. I'll read it again. You will sit in the silence until you hear the voice within. You will be in the dark until you see the light. You will be alone until you are never lonely. So I say those to me. I have that I can go to these words of wisdom to help me to understand my journey on this earthly plane. I have other things that I have written in my textbook. I was going to bring my textbook today, but I thought I'll just write them down here. But these are some of the words that I've written down in my textbook. Each moment is a new beginning. I am a celebration of universal life. My mind is filled with loving thoughts. I live this moment in happiness and joy, knowing God's life is my life now. God's life is my life now. God, we are an expression that somebody asked, she texted me and she said, I have to know what it is, what I'm meant to do. And I said, we are each an expression of the love that God is. That's my understanding, that I am an expression of the love that God is. And I try to remember that however my life is moving through the day, I am that expression. And this is another one I wrote down. Divine wisdom directs me. I listen to the still small voice within me, which gives purpose and direction to my life. I align myself with God and experience clarity and balance in everything I do. And that's something that balance is something that I've been having some challenges with, because I've put into the prayers for the Circle of Eight that we were sitting outside, and I would just like to share with you that I injured my leg. I think my knee was injured last October. It's almost been a year now. I feel like my balance has gotten kind of wonky, and I have to. Today it feels good though, and it's I told you I was doing an exercise back in October, and I was using one of those stretchy blue bands, and the blue band matched my outfit. I chose the blue because it matched my outfit. What can I say? And and that was the hardest one to stretch. And I felt something pull on my knee, and it's been bothering me off and on. Especially going up and down my stairs. Going down the stairs feels worse. Finally, I talked to my orthopedic doctor so I could have an MRI. So I went to him last week. So he finally agreed. Instead of having me go to physical therapy for months, I'm going to get an MRI but then yesterday it didn't hurt at all. So how do you figure? Our bodies, they're just so mysterious sometimes, and they try to play games with us, with our mind. We have to be on top of things. Okay, I'm going to finish reading what I had written down here, because I spent a lot of time on this, Brian. I want you to know this. He knows that. This is what I write. I like this. Love points the way, and law makes the way possible. So the love that we have and that we express, that it goes out there and it comes back to us. And the thought comes first, then the conviction, and after that, the steps to make it happen fall into place. The thought comes first, then the conviction, and that conviction could be the understanding too. And then after that, the steps to make it happen will fall into place. So it's so important, our thoughts that we have. Our thoughts are what can create havoc in our life, or it can create a wonderful experience of enjoying the life that we live. And it's all up to us, to how we are thinking and how we imagine our life to be. And it's whenever I am starting to have thoughts that I'm thinking, why am I feeling the way I'm feeling right now? And I think back on the thoughts that brought up the feeling, and I think, cancel. That is not the truth of who I am. And I talk to myself. I correct myself, and we need to do this. We are grown-ups, and we can manage our life and manage it in a way that creates a beautiful experience. And of course, love, I believe that love, whatever the question, love is the answer. I know that too. So I am going on to the next part of my talk, and I wrote down here that I believe as we move through each lifetime, because I believe that we have many lifetimes. I think that this is an experience. This is a lifetime we're living, and we're trying to do the best we can, and we're growing through this time. And then the next time, it might not be as hard as it was this time. This is my thinking, and I do believe that I get messages from John often. I started to say God, and I do get messages from God often, and John too. I mean, it's been a really interesting time since his passing in 2022, because it has helped me to really understand the depth of love and the depth of relationship, and how we move through relationships with times that are difficult. I think it's like a roller coaster ride sometimes, because he wasn't the easiest person to live with. He was an engineer, and his thinking was different than mine, but we managed to move through the time. We didn't give up, and I think that to me was important for me, and so I am who I am today because of the challenges that I faced in the relationship with John and with the experiences I've had throughout my life. I wrote down wisdom words that I think, hear, or read enhance my spiritual understanding. I have so many journals. I haven't found most of them because since the flooding in my house in 2023, they're upstairs in John's room, which I get overwhelmed when I go up there to try to sort it through. And I'm not ready to do that yet. And so I'm honoring my feeling, and I am understanding I need a little more time before I can do that. But I do have my journals up there, and that's an incentive to get up there and try to find them. But I have made other journals since then, and so I have some examples of a journal writing that I wrote in a little book. I was going to bring the little book, but I had written in August 18th in 2010. This is what I wrote. I pause and quiet my thoughts. Closing my eyes, I allow my breath to become my focus. My inhale carries wisdom through my heart to every cell of my body. My exhale releases confusion and doubt from my mind. I experience the stillness of the presence of God and gently discern my next step. And that is the understanding that I move through and get to that place of understanding what it is I need to know. And I read this often. I read my journal, the things I put in my journal that really inspire me. It's just amazing how much good they do years down the line. I read them again, and it just lifts me up and gives me even a greater understanding than what I had at that time when I wrote it. So I really enjoyed. If you haven't read this from the website. Am I the only one that reads this? How many of you have read this month? This is on understanding. If you haven't read it, good. It's called Understanding the Gateway to Spiritual Clarity, and it's wonderful. And it also has this wonderful little article that Ruth, you're such a good writer. She wrote Unity 5 Cities Well Represented at Asilomar. I'd like to read it to you since you may not have read it. Asilomar is a beautiful week-long spiritual retreat located on the beach in Monterey. Reverend Joyce Zorger offered the invocation for one of the speakers, and Jill Roberts did the invocation for another speaker. And I think, hopefully, Jill, you knew that you were going to do it beforehand. But I think what they say, to wing it, hey, I did that, so I was able to do that. Where am I now? The conference center is rustic and beautiful. The speakers were inspiring, and the music was sublime. It was announced that Asilomar 2026 will happen under the direction of a committee. You can go to Spiritual Living Retreat Asilomar on Facebook for pictures from the event and more information. So you can find some pictures from all of us there. We had a good time. Yeah, the food was not as good as it has been in the past. I've been going. Yeah, well, that was good because usually I gain weight every time I go, and I didn't this time. But anyway, I plan to go again next year and have my daughters come again because my house will need cleaning again by then. And the yard will need work. I am so blessed. I truly am. Yeah, they're amazing children, adults now. Yeah, they're not children anymore in the age of 60, right? They got to be adults. They'll always be my children. Yes, thank you. All right, so I am looking here. Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, the founders of the Unity Church, developed a framework of spiritual teaching that includes 12 powers, each representing a unique aspect of human potential and spiritual growth. One of these powers is the power of understanding, and they explain it so well. And it says, each month we have a theme to expand upon. And Reverend Brian, he informed me of this month's topic, and he included a 3-page document giving Unity's definition of the power of understanding. That was really helpful. I thank you for that. And the power of understanding is often associated with the ability to comprehend and discern the deeper truths of life, both intellectually and spiritually. It involves not just knowledge, but the insight to grasp the understanding principles that govern existence, relationships, and personal experiences. And so that, basically that's what it took, a lot of understanding to get through 64 years of marriage to a man that was John, and I love him dearly, but he was not the easiest person to deal with because of the type of thinking. But he could fix anything. That's what I loved about him too. Yeah, he could fix anything. And being the mechanical design engineer that he was, he was quite amazing. I wished I learned more from him. I wish he would have, now I think back and wished I would have paid more attention to the things that he did to teach me how to do them. But that's my growing understanding. I can do that, through understanding. We all move through that process if we're willing to do it. So in closing, I wanted to read, with this intent in mind, I would like to share a poem. This is so beautiful. It's a poem from my dear friend, Claire McLean. You may remember her. She was a chaplain here, and she moved to Shasta, California. She moved there with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend Earl, and her boyfriend Earl's children wanted him to move closer to them so they could kind of oversee him, because he was in his 90s as well as Claire. And so they have a beautiful little home there, and I talk to her often. I call her and check on her, and she does the same. And she sends me these beautiful cards, and she sent me a poem that she wrote. I wanted to read that to you. I think it's beautiful to share. It says, because I don't know if you knew that she was an artist. She was an author, and she was such an inspiration. She's such a role model. She sent me this beautiful card, and she did. It's a card. You probably can't see it from there, but it has sunlight and dewdrops and butterflies, and she wrote that inside the card. She said, God gives all such beautiful things. God gives us all such beautiful things, like sunbeams and dewdrops and butterfly wings. Love, Claire. And I'd like to read the poem that she wrote to me. Okay, she said, it's nice to know, to dear Joyce, it's nice to know I am never alone. The Holy Spirit dwells in me throughout each day. I am guided, and if I allow myself to see, I will discover good in every situation, even if it appears in a form of devastation. A wisdom far beyond my grasp will hold me strong and firm, and if I am wise, I will realize there is a lesson to be learned. And Claire McLean with love. And that, she is just my role model. She is 10 years older than me. She is so clear in her thinking and her spiritual philosophy, and we share that. She's 97 and I'm 87, and she is my role model. I want to be like her when I grow up. when I grow up. Anyway, God bless you all. That is my message this morning. I wanted to close on that beautiful poem that Claire wrote. So thank you for listening. God bless you all.